Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Red Dragon Inn unboxing. This is for the Smorgasbox, which is like smorgasbord because it's a restaurant-themed set. So it's a tavern. They sell food. So we have Roxanna here, who is our resident chef, adventurous chef even. So this set is actually kind of an intriguing thing to show characters from the original set. So it's a expansion that adds some stuff for the Red Dragon Inn regular game. It's going to add some stuff into the Battle at Greyport set, which is like a side story game. Adds, some other different gameplay stuff. Adds the Rogues and Warriors card game, and some other various stuff like that. So I'm going to do this as a two-part video, so I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Part 1 will just be going over the stuff that is relevant strictly only for Red Dragon Inn, the regular game, and then part 2 will be the stuff that goes towards the other Red Dragon Inn games or side stuff. That way, if you don't care about anything other than just the base game, you don't have to go watch part 2. This also works as a secondary storage box. So if you pull the box over here, so we have a double-sided storage bin. So if for some reason you bought the treasure trove, or you didn't buy the treasure trove, which is set number 5, and you could pick this up, you can get an extra little storage thing. It won't have any of the extra dividers. So if you bought sets before set 5, you wouldn't have dividers for any of the characters. But at least it's something a little bit extra if you need extra things, or however you want to do that. Of course, you are going to notice that the divider cards do stick up over the top of the things. You can get them easily, so I just have them sideways in here instead. But then you're not going to be able to put a lot of flat stuff across the top, like the books and stuff. I mean, the books will probably be fine because they're fairly thin. But yeah, just to put. And they give you foam blocks to put stuff in. Extra baggies for your tokens and stuff. You always get extra baggies when you get these bigger sets. Alright, so that is the basics there. So what is actually in this box and what will be in each part? So we're going to get the adventurous chef Roxanna. So she's going to have her deck, her recipe deck, her special rules and how to play, which we'll go over. We are going to get her, so in the second video, we'll look at her Battle for Greyport deck, so her cards for that. There's prize variants, which we'll go over in the second video, or maybe the first one. We'll see how long the first one is. And we have Otto, our mechanical friend. So he's an AI character that you can use to play, to have a third player if you want to play a two-player game. He was also in the Munchkins Spike and Flower box set. You can check out that video if you want to see what cards are in there. But this adds 4 new classes for him: the Tinker, Paladin, Bard, and Witch Doctor. So if you buy both, it gives you a lot more combinations to use. And we'll go over all his different stuff in there as well. And then the other thing is we have another big giant book here for gambling. I'm in. You can actually play this game now. They give you a deck of cards to play it. There's a bunch of different variations. And we'll kind of go over that in the second video as well. I'm not going to spend a ton of time in this one for that. Then we have our token sheet. So we're going to get 3 different health counters, 3 different brew counters. I'm not sure why they gave us 3 when we only have... Oh, because we have 2 for Otto and 1 for Roxanna. That's why. We got our gold markers. So you can add this into any other game. Although I think these gold markers are bigger than regular ones. We have some special tokens for Otto and a special card for Roxanna, which would be her smorgasbord. I'm going to pop that one out here quick. Well, I said quick, but it's going to be stubborn. There we go. Just so we can look at that with her deck. Alright, I'm going to set those off to the side. So we have, to start with, we have her card here. So you get these with all the newer sets in case you bought the original and you haven't seen these. if you have older sets and you don't have a card like this or the dividers, they're again in box number 5, the character trove. I keep calling it the treasure trove, and it's called the character trove. These are kind of nice because they mention, besides just having the deck discard and drink me, they tell you where to put your other stuff. So her Smorgasbox card, which is this guy right here, kind of sits over here, just so you keep track of that. She has a cutting board to place various other things, available recipe, and her recipe deck. So it just kind of tells you where to place your cards. Nice and helpful for people just learning out. And she has her turn order. So she has reveal a recipe. Is a special thing. If one's already there, you then choose which one to keep. Otherwise, you draw, discard, action, order, drink, and drink. If you want to know the rules of the game, check out Red Dragon Inn video number 1, where I go over kind of how to play. I'm not going to dive into it in this video. Alright, so then we have Roxanna, the adventurous chef. She's an elf chef. So let's look at what she does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she's going to have the basic cards everybody else gets. Gambling, I'm in. She has 6 copies. Start a round of gambling or take control of a round of gambling. Ooh, does she have 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She has 7 copies. She's a gambler. She has 2 copies of I Raise. Take control of a round of gambling. Each player, including you, must ante again. 2 copies of Winning Hand. Take control of a round of gambling. The next card to take control must be a cheating card. Then she actually has some different artwork from the regular set, which is kind of neat. But she has Tip the Wench. Pick a player, they pay 1 gold to the inn. 2 copies of Wench. Bring some drinks for my friends. You may play this card during the order to drink phase of your turn. Pay 1 gold to the inn to order 2 additional drinks. She also has the Wench thinks you should stop playing with the drinks. And which says negate is sometimes target changes the effect of a drink. This includes cards that negate, ignore, split drinks, pass drinks to another player, or alter any of the drink's effects. This card can only be affected by I don't think so. And then we have I don't think so. Negate is sometimes card. This card can only be affected by another I don't think so. So these are the cards that every player has, sometimes in different quantities, but they all have them. Then the rest of the cards are generally unique, but some of them will be like the same effects with slightly different names. So she has What's Up Your Sleeve, like a lot of characters have this type of card. Take control of a round of gambling. Pick another player and force them to leave a round of gambling. Oops, I dropped my cards. Take control of a round of gambling. So, she has in the bottom of her card, she has an ingredient. And I'm just gonna, so just notice that on certain cards she's gonna have these ingredients. I'm just gonna kind of go through the cards, and then we'll come back to what they do. So she has, this hand is awful. Take control of a round of gambling. So that one has a stack of meat down there. And this one has a vegetables. So there's 3 different types. There's sauce, meats, and vegetables. I'll cut the deck. Take control round of gambling. Then she has 2 copies of Someone Ordered a Knuckle Sandwich. You may play this card immediately after you lose Fortitude from a card played by another player. You may not play this card if you reduce that Fortitude loss. So that player loses 2 Fortitude. She has Everything's Prepped, Who's Hungry. This will have a cleaver icon on it, which has a special effect, which I will, again, I'll go over that once I'm through the rest of the regular deck, because it has to do with her recipes. 2 copies of this one. This one, Some Mean Cuisine. Pick another player, they lose 2 Fortitude. 2 copies of No Soup for You, which has 2 icons, a sauce and a cleaver. Pick another player, they lose 1 Fortitude. 2 copies of Safety Masks, Everyone. Pick another player, they gain 1 alcohol content. 2 copies of Careful, Some Ingredients Might Fight Back. Pick another player, they lose 2 fortitude. Pay up. Do you think ingredients grow on trees? Okay, well, these ones do, but that's not the point. Each player pays you 1 gold. 2 copies, and this one has vegetables, and this one has meat. This pairs with nothing on my menu. Ignore a drink. Ooh, I could whip up a marinade with this. Ignore a drink. 2 copies of Not Now, I'm Working on a Little Something. You may play this card when you must ante. Instead of anteing, leave a round of gambling or ignore a vent card. Remember when I cooked that golden goose? You may play this card when you're about to lose gold. Use gold from the inn rather than your own stash. And this is why we use cast iron. Ignore an action, sometimes or anytime card that affects your fortitude. And finally, she has, oh no, I left something in the oven. Ignore an action, sometimes or anytime card that affects your fortitude. Reduce your alcohol content of a drink you're about to drink by 2. So the only reason I wanted to go through her entire deck before I talked about the recipes, because none of her cards, other than the symbols, directly reference the recipes. So I didn't want to keep, going back and forth on them. So she got this deck of recipes. So at the beginning of your turn, you're going to pick one recipe. It's going to go in your available recipe spot. When you play a card with a symbol on the bottom, so if we played this one that has meat, we'll put it up here on top. Now I have a meat up in my cutting board to be able to use. And basically you're trying to do is, as you play your cards, you're going to keep playing them up to your cutting board. Now, what's going to happen there, though, is the more cards you play and you leave up there and you don't do anything with, the less you're going to have in your deck. So you're eventually going to want to spend them on these recipes. So a card resolves, you must place it on your board. It's not an optional effect. Then, at the beginning of your turn, reveal the top card of your recipe deck, put it near the available recipe. If there's already one there, you must choose which to keep, putting the other face down the bottom of the deck. To cook a recipe, spend the ingredients from the cards in your cutting board by moving those cards to your discard pile. Then take the recipe card to your hand. Once a recipe card is in your hand, you may play it whenever you can play a card of its indicated subtype. When you play a recipe card, it goes to your character's discard pile. This means if you reshuffle your deck, you can get the recipe card again later. So all you have to do is create these once, and then they give you extra cards to use. So if we create the exhumed potted greens by paying for 1 vegetable or a sauce, you have to pay 2 ingredients, and then this goes to your hand. Then, next time you draw it, or it's in your hand, next time you play it, lose 1 alcohol content. If it's your action phase, also draw 1 card from your character deck. You'll really dig it. She can make hearty soup, or hearty vegetable soup, gain 1 fortitude. If it's your action phase, also draw 1 card from your character deck. Just like Granny used to make. Stink fruit pudding. Pick another player. They lose 1 fortitude. If they lose fortitude this way, they reveal a drink with possible cases from the drink deck and drink it. You acquire taste, but you'll never acquire the smell. Mixed mosses. Draw 2 cards from your character deck. If it's your action phase, you may play another action card. Served on the rocks. Then we have some with meat, so either meat and then meat and sauce. Spatchcock cockatrice. If it's your action phase, you may play another action this phase. Place this card in front of you. While is there, whenever you would lose fortitude, that loss is reduced by 1. Discard this card at the start of your next turn. The trick is saving the eyes for last. Mountain Wavering Oysters. Pick another player, they lose 1 alcohol content, you pay 1 gold. A rare barbarian delicacy, renowned for their health benefits. Random grilled meats. Each player, including you, gains 1 fortitude and draws 1 card from their character deck. Each other player pays you 1 gold. Don't ask what it is, it's meat on sticks. Slow pressed fermented shark. Pick another player that is 3 fortitude, draw 1 card from their character deck. If it's more of a rite of passage than a delicacy. Then we have some harder ones to get to, which will require 3 different things. So a meat, a vegetable, and then one of the 3. Pick another player, they lose 2 fortitude. Oh, you wanted me to cook it first. Fresh lobster roll. I didn't read what it was called. Fire salamander flambe. You may play this card during another player's drink phase. That player drinks an additional drink from their drink me pile. Give me something to drink. Anything. We have pan-seared wildebeest. You may play this card after another player reveals a drink with possible chasers. Instead of its usual effect, the drink has lose 1 fortitude and gain 1 alcohol content. Any non-drink cards that change its drink effect still affected normally. The flavor is just out of this world. And then the last one is Ogre Stew. Pick another player, they lose 2 fortitude and gain 1 alcohol content. Or as ogres call it, stew. Yeah, so she's going to have a bunch of cards that do different stuff. So now what is the cutting board, or the cleaver says? If you have, such an ingredient card goes to your cutting board now. You may also place a single ingredient card from your hand directly to your cutting board. The second ingredient card moves to your cutting board. None of the effects happen. If it has a cutting board, you may not. So if I play this, basically I did a move. I did a sauce, and then I can pick any other ingredient. So I could pick this, and I could get a second ingredient on there quicker. Then we did have that one that had 3. So if I play this card, basically I can discard 3 cards from my hand up to my cutting board to gain stuff quicker. So it's just the cutting board lets you get ingredients out quicker. But what you want to do though is, like I said, if you have too many cards that just sit up on the top of your cutting board, that reduces how many cards you get to play. So if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, you're not going to get it. That is why we also have Roxanna's Smorgasbox, which has, you may play a combination of any of the 3 at any time to draw 1 card from your character deck. So basically you can spend your ingredients as a permanent recipe that's always out. Because the other recipes are going to keep going. So if like you don't have the meat, you can't do any of the meat ones. So you might, discard that, and then you have a veggie. Well, if you play the veggie now, you have to wait until you have another veggie to play the next one, or hope you get a meat. This at least always gives you options. If you keep drawing too many cards with just veggies, and you don't need them, you can go ahead and start spending them on this, which gets you more cards, which lets you do more stuff. And that's basically how her deck works. So it's pretty interesting. Nice little different gimmick. For her deck. Alright. Up next, our second character is Otto, our mechanical friend. We didn't look at. So, she does have her deck divider card. There's an S up there for Smorgasbord. And then on the back, it explains how the game is played, or how her deck works. Alright, so that's just how that all works, in case you were wondering. Then we have Otto, which is going to work the exact same way as the Munchkin one worked. So basically what he does is he's an automated character, Otto, our mechanical friend. He has 4 different groups, each of 5 cards. You take 2 of them, and you make a 10-card deck. So you're going to take 2 of your different factions, make a 10-card deck. And just to really simplify it, basically what happens is on his turn, we'll just read right off this. On his turn, reveal a card from his deck, follow the action in the action slot. Then he does his drink. That's what he does. He does an action and then he drinks. When he's affected by something, a drink, an action, sometimes, anytime card, reveal the top card of his deck and then follow the sometimes box. So his cards are going to have 3 boxes: actions, sometimes, and gambling. So beginning, he'll always do the first one. Something affects him, he'll do the sometimes boxes. And then if he's in the gambling, he gets stuck into a gambling phase. When it's his turn, he reveals the top card of his deck and does the gambling or cheating box. Any time before gambling, if he ever runs out of cards, you just reshuffle his deck and keep drawing more cards. But if he runs out during gambling, then he just passes. So it says whenever he passes out on either track, reset that track. Player closest to that track gains 1 gold or just to draw 2 cards from their deck. So his thing looks like this. So he has a 0 to 6 and a 0 to 6. So player 1, player 2 on each side. He ever passes out, then yeah, each player gets one. He stays in the game. He keeps playing. That's all he does. He's just there to kind of like add an extra person to attack, so you're not always having to attack the other player, kind of thing. That's sort of the more of the point of it. And so you have somebody else that maybe attacks you here and there. If he ever has choices, he always chooses the easiest, simplest action. So if he says he may do this, he will not do it. He will choose to do the least amount of work. So if it says, he gains 2 fortitude and he may discard a card to do this. Well, 1, he can't discard because he doesn't have a deck or a hand. Secondly, if it says he may gain an extra, may pay 1 gold to do this, he will not pay that gold. He will do whatever's the least amount of work possible. If he performs an illegal action, so if he's in a gambling thing and it says the next card has to be a cheating card, he draws this card and it's a gambling and not cheating, he doesn't do anything. He just passes. If he ever runs out of a card during gambling, he just passes. If he ever has to drink a card, he drinks from the top of the drink pile. He doesn't have his own separate pile. Basically, he's just trying to do the least amount he can do, but just trying to stay in the game. Alright, so let's look at his faction. So we have Tinkerer, who says, action, auto builds a delivery device. The player with the least alcohol content drinks the top drink with possible chasers from the drink deck. Sometimes has no effect, and gambling is gambling I'm in. He takes control of the round of gambling. Auto builds a mechanical wrench. Each player pays 1 gold. The ing puts the top card of the drink me deck face down in their drink me pile. No effect, and auto leaves a round of gambling. Auto builds a miniature catapult. It's kind of neat. So the first set of auto cards, they didn't have subtypes to the action. It just said what it did. So it's kind of a neat addition. The player with the most fortitude loses 2 fortitude. And sometimes if it's an action, sometimes or anytime a card, he ignores the card. Gambling, he passes. Auto builds an arcane confuse raid. The player with the least alcohol content gains 1 alcohol content. Action, sometimes anytime. The player who played this card loses 1 fortitude. And winning hand, auto takes control of the round, and the next card must be a cheating card. And then its final Tinkerer is auto builds an omni-set goggles. Gambling, I'm in. Sometimes if it's a drink card, he ignores it. And cheating, auto takes control of the round. So that's his Tinkerer abilities. He has some Bard abilities. Make sure that's what they called that. I'm pretty sure they called it a Bard. Yep. Auto recites an epically long poem. Each player, including Auto, on both tracks uses 1 alcohol content. No effect, and gambling, I'm in. Auto sings about heroes and villains. Each other player gains 1 alcohol content. No effect, and winning hand. Auto starts shuffling cards. Gambling, I'm in. Sometimes there's no effect, and gambling, I raise. Takes control of each round. Each player empties an additional gold. Action, auto reminds you to tip the wench. Each player, the most gold, pays 1 gold to the end. Drink, reduce the alcohol content by 1, and cheating, auto cheats and takes control of the round. Then his last one for the Bard is no effect. Action, sometimes anytime. Player who played just loses 1 fortitude, or cheating, he takes control of the round. Then we have the Paladin. Auto lays on hands. Each other player gains 1 fortitude, pays 1 gold to the end. No effect, and the last card to take control of the round was a cheating card. The round ends, and the ante goes to the ing. So he's righteous. Otto is offended by your blasphemy. The player with the most fortitude loses 2 fortitude. No effect, and Otto leaves a round of gambling. Action, no effect. Action, sometimes, anytime. Otto ignores the card. The opponent of the player who played the card gains 1 fortitude. And then winning hand takes control of the round. Action, Otto's temporary healing wears off. The player with the least fortitude loses 1 fortitude. Drink, Otto ignores it, and gambling, he passes. His final paladin card is Otto begins a ritual flogging. Each other player loses 1 fortitude. Action, sometimes, anytime. Player who played the card pays 1 gold to the inn, and gambling is pass. Then his 4th one is the Witch Doctor, which actually has some special effects. So, with the Witch Doctor, we have these special tokens here. So he's got 2 of each. And there's another Witch Doctor character in one of the other expansion sets, which has very similar tokens. His have gears around them, just to show that they work differently. And then each gear does a different thing. So we're going to look at those really quick. So we have a Pain Curse, which is the heart. Pain Curse makes a debuffed player take an extra fortitude loss. So it says immediately after you lose fortitude, lose an additional fortitude. If you lose fortitude, return the debuff token to Otto. Mind Hex makes a debuff player gain extra alcohol, so if you gain alcohol, you gain an additional alcohol. And Power Jinx, which is the cat. If a player makes the next action card weaker, gives the following effects to the debuff player. Reduces all numerical values by 1 on any action card during your action phase to a minimum of 0. So if it would have made them lose 2, they would pay 1 gold, they do 1 less of each. Otto cannot be affected by his own curses, but if the other Witch Doctors in play, they can affect Otto and vice versa. So Otto tests out a new poison. The player with the most alcohol content gains 1 alcohol content. No effect, and Otto leaves a round of gambling. Player currently in control of the round gets a Mind Hex. No effect. Action, sometimes, anytime. The player who played this card gains a Mind Hex. I'm gambling. I'm in. Action. Otto uses his blowgun. Each other player loses 1 fortitude. Action, sometimes, anytime. Otto ignores the card, and the player who played the card gets a Pain Curse. And then I raise. Otto takes control of the round, and each player antes. Action, Otto gives you the Evil Eye. The player to the ogre's right loses 1 fortitude and gets a Power Jinx. Action, sometimes, anytime. The player who plays the card gets a Pain Curse, and gambling, he passes. And then Otto smites you with a curse. The player to Otto's left loses 1 fortitude, gets a Power Jinx. Alright, so that was Otto, our mechanical friend. Yeah, it's a neat little extra gimmick to the deck. So it kind of makes this set sort of neat. Like, you get an extra neat character, you get an extra little storage box if you didn't already have one. Plus, you get a way to play with, 2 players can play, the 3rd player gets some. If you bought the Spike and Fall or Munchkin set, you'll get the second Otto, or the other one, which has 4 different classes. Warrior, Mage, Cleric, and Rogue. So what you can always do there is, just normally here, you're combining 2 things. So you could have a Witch Doctor Paladin deck, or a Paladin Bard deck, or a Bard Tinker, or a Tinker, Witch Doctor. And now if you buy the other one, it gives you even more combinations, because then you could have Witch Doctor, Rogue, Paladin, Warrior, Bard, Mage, or Tinker, or Cleric. Or any other number of combinations. So it'll give you a lot more different options. A few other just quick reminders of how Otto works is, so on his track, each player has 1 side of their own. You can only affect the side closest to you. So if you have to give Otto a drink, it only adds to your side. It doesn't add to the other player's side. And then he also can't be used in, or he's not supposed to be used in team games. So if you're playing the team variants where you can have people teaming up together or versus a boss, he's not supposed to be used because he's only meant to be played with 1 player on each side, and not like in the middle of a big brawl. kind of the other big thing. Alright, so the last couple of things we're going to look at for part 1 is we don't get a full drink deck, we get 5 cards. They're kind of like promo cards, essentially. So we're going to look at what these do. It's just some extra ones to add in, which is kind of neat. I wish every set did at least added like 1 extra drink card or 2 extra drink cards. Just maybe something maybe tailored towards that character. That would have been kind of cool. But we have Picky Drinking. Look at the top 3 cards of the drink deck. Put one of them face down on another player's drink me pile. Discard one of them and return the last one to the top of the drink deck. Then drink the top drink from the drink deck. This card can't be ignored. We have Pretentious Wine. Move the top 3 cards to the top of your drink me pile to any other player's drink me piles. Distribute as you like. Do not look at them. After this stuff, you won't want to drink anything else. Time Warp Tonic. If you drink this drink during your own turn, then take another turn after this one. This is just a shot to the left. Dwarven Stout. If you're a dwarf, you get different effects. Found barrel-chested dwarves and dwarf-chested barrels. That's hilarious. And then the last one is Cobalt Punch. Put this card in front of you with 3 Belch tokens on it. At the end of your turn, if this card is in front of you, you may remove a Belch token from it. If you do, gain 1 Fortitude. Then pick up to 2 other players that each gain 1 alcohol content. When there are no more Belch tokens on this card, discard it. Gross. So you gain 4 alcohol content right away. You get these 3 tokens. But then every turn you basically burp one out, and basically you're sending that burp to someone else, and they're gaining that alcohol content. And so the Belch tokens are these little red ones. And they're double-sided, so it doesn't matter which way they get flipped. Now, if you're adding these into a set, the game requires you to have a 30-card drink deck. So you have to remove 5 other cards. Being that there's 4 drinks in 1 drink event, it's probably recommended to remove 4 drinks in 1 drink event. You could always remove 5 drinks and add an extra drink event. It's probably not going to hurt the game too much. But you also want to make sure maybe you don't remove too many chasers unless, you want less chasers. But yeah, just a different way. If you're playing with multiple decks, there's a drink deck variant rule, which just says take all your drinks, mix them together, shuffle them up, make a 30-card deck. Then when you finish playing through that deck, normally you pay the in 1 gold and you just reshuffle that deck and play. But if you have more than 30 cards, if you have like multiple decks, you can then instead of reshuffling that one deck, just set that deck aside, then take your next deck of 30 cards and start with that one. So in this way, you can mix them in with all of them. You just end up with 5 cards left over at the end of the game. There's that. Then there's the prize variant cards. So various sets started adding these in here. So during a round of gambling, to play this variant, add any number of unique prize cards at the end of the start of the game. So any ones you have. Player starts a round of gambling. That player must choose 1 prize card at the end to add to the pot. The player who takes the anti-gold wins the prize and follows its instructions at the appropriate time. Some are instant, some have conditional effects, it's like when you gain alcohol or lose fortitude or something like that. This will cause the prize to move to the prize bin. A holding area for used prizes. If a player starts a round of gambling, if there are no prizes at the inn, move all prizes from the bin to the inn. Then they get to choose a prize as normal. If the pot goes to the inn, the prize goes back to the inn with it. So if nobody wins it, nobody gets that prize. It is not gold, so it cannot be stolen from the pot with stealing cards. So it's kind of neat. Just adds an extra bonus. Instead of winning gold, you might win a special prize, such as Talisman of Lightning. When you win this prize, add it to the prize bin and lose 2 fortitude. The player may reduce or ignore this fortitude as a loss as though it came from an action card. So you probably want to do those, play all these face down. That way nobody knows what prize you're drawing. Or you can play them face up and let everyone pick. So then this might be like, hey, you get this and you know that's sitting in the pile. Oh crap, like I don't want to win this pile then, And then we have the Adventurers Wanted. You go on a minor quest. At the end of your next discard and draw phase, move this card to the prize bin. Gain 1 gold from the inn. Then your turn ends. Skip your action, order a drink, and drink phases. Kind of neat. Stitches skip around. Might help you. Doesn't have to take a drink at least. Alright. So that was all we have for this particular set. So check out part 2 if you want to see the other cards, which we will go over the cards for Roxanna's Battle at Greyport set, and as well as the Roads and Warriors set. If you're not interested in these stuff that's not for just the base Red Dragon game and gambling stuff, then you can skip that video. Alright, see you guys then. Bye.